Namaste. I'm Crystal, and I'll be guiding you through a yin session during this practice. Let's begin by coming into a comfortable and supported seat. And during this session, I'd like to invite you into what's called saddle and yin, or hero's pose in Hatha Yoga. And really pay attention to your body, because this doesn't really work for everyone, but I'm going to show you some variations. So saddle is when you sit between your heels and the bottoms of your feet are up. I have the flexibility in my body to do that. You might take a block and have it the wide way to help separate the legs and sit on a block. This pose is usually with the knees together, but your knees can widen if that's more comfortable. If you need more support, which I know some of us do, then you might sit up on a bolster, or maybe a bolster and a block. You can sit really high. The hips will be higher than the knees, but we begin to open this whole front of the body, which is really important to open, and we'll be using that later in our practice. So find your saddle pose, your hero's pose, and make sure there is no pain. Absolutely no pain. The other thing you could do is do one leg in the saddle and the other leg straight, if that's more comfortable for you. So any variation, or if it's not working, sit how you choose. In this session, we're going to work with the kidney and the urinary bladder. So we're going to come into a mudra for water, moving fluids in the body. So if you could touch the tip of your little finger to the tip of your thumb on each hand, and then we'll turn the palms up. Make sure you're comfortable in your seat, roll the shoulders up, back, and down. And let's welcome ourselves into practice. Let's take a cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Take two more of those, welcoming yourself into practice, inviting the nervous system to find some calm, settling into your body, settling into your pose. Relaxing the jaws, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, and just softening your body. Your body will do what it needs to do in the shape, and that's the beauty of all of our yoga. We invite ourselves into a shape, and there's a reason for it, and then it helps our body. Relax the jaws, and just, if your eyes aren't closed, close the eyes or find a gazeless gaze. Begin to connect with your breath. How is your body choosing to breathe right now? No effort, no force with the breath. Just be an observer. Begin to soften into your physical self. Begin to go a little deeper into that next kosha or layer, the energetic self with breath. You might notice how the inside of your mouth is. That might seem strange, but I often talk about this. What is the state of the mouth? Sometimes our mouth gets dry, or there's a really odd, sort of pungent, metallic taste. Those are signs that we're under stress. Could be signs of other things too. Could be dehydration. Holding this mudra, Jala mudra, the mudra of water, may also help bring more saliva into the mouth. It's a mudra I often use in the summertime when I get really hot and I'm sweating, to help move and bring more water moving through the body. And today, because we're working with kidney and urinary bladder, moving moving those fluids, helping those organs that sift and strain and move those fluids in our body. Also a good mudra for that. Notice what's happening with the mind. Is it staying with you? Is it staying with you in your practice? Has it wandered off to think about something else? Call it back. Just do the best you can. When the mind has a focus, something even as simple as just the breath tends to quiet down a bit, become less busy. That can be very beneficial during practice and any time during our day. Staying connected. And just notice if you felt any change already with breath, the way your body's choosing to breathe, perhaps some saliva forming in the mouth. Any noticeable shifts? Maybe you're feeling something in this very short time we've been sitting. To invite you into a guided breath, and I call it elevator breath. I don't know if it has an official yogic name, but we're going to inhale through the nose, kind of imagining that the breath is an elevator. It's going to move up to like 3 floors, let's say. Pause, move up another 3 floors, pause, move all the way to the top of the building, pause, with the breath held in. And then we're going to exhale all in one swoop. The elevator is going to go down, all the way down to the basement floor as we exhale through the nose. Just follow my lead, do the best you can. Relax your jaws, and inhale, fill your torso, your lungs to a third. Inhale another third. And now fill up. Elevators at the very top, pause. There are people getting off and on, all safe, of course, wearing masks, socially distancing. And whenever you're ready to release, exhale through the nose. Let it all come down slow and mindful. At the very end, pull the navel in. Relax the navel and begin again. Inhale to a third. Pause. Inhale a third, pause, fill all the way up. Hold that breath in, hold the elevator steady. Let that prana, let that chi circulate. Whenever you're ready, exhale through the nose, all the way down. Begin again, and I'm going to just have you do it on your own counts. We all breathe at different levels. Hold any of those pauses as long as it's comfortable for you, as long as you choose. Filling to a third, another third, all the way, and releasing. Taking the pauses, those kumbhaks, as long as you choose. Continuing with a few more rounds of this. Maybe take 1 or 2 more rounds of this elevator breath, pausing, letting prana and chi to circulate with those pauses, and then slowly releasing, letting go of what's not needed, holding the navel in for just a moment or two at the very end, stimulating the digestive system, that chakra of control, willpower in the body. So many things related that we don't really need to think about, but sometimes it's nice to know. I often share. I like to share information. And maybe within the next round or so, after your exhale, you can finish this practice and then once again just sit. Just be an observer of your breath. And notice if that brought any changes. Often we may feel a little more grounded or balanced or a little lighter. This time of year, we can begin to feel really heavy in our bodies, heavy and slow. And we want to find ourselves being more right. If we can't go outside and run or walk, we find that movement with our breath and mudras can be very powerful to help move that energy within us. Just take a few more moments to notice. And if you would like to bring an intention into your practice today, any sort of intention for you or sending healing intention to someone else, I invite you to do that now. After you've set your intention, invite a cleansing breath in. Inhale through the nose, fill up the whole torso. And this time, tip the chin to the chest. And exhale through the mouth. Keep the chin at the chest. Release your Jala Mudra and rub your hands together. Just creating some nice warmth as you move this energy. Take a gentle squeeze of each hand of the fingers. Put your palms down and then inhale, bring your head all the way up. Let's take a mindful exit out of our seat. And let's come to tabletop pose, hands and knees. We're just going to find a little bit of movement here. Especially those who were sitting in saddle or heroes. You might find some tapping on the front of the feet and of getting back into the whole front of the legs. Maybe finding a nice long stretch with one leg. Being light in your hands, taking a stretch in the other leg. You might even lift a leg up with a bent knee and just sort of kick toward your seat. Getting a little more stretch in that quad, and then extending and bringing in, extending and bringing in, and then let's do the other leg. These are suggestions, but they're really good movements to counter what we've just been doing. And then maybe extend the leg, bend it in, extend, bend, one more time, and bring it in. Good. We'll get ready now to stretch the band of fascia that we find in the middle of the soles of our feet. And let me give you a few recommendations. You can sit back on your heels, spreading all the toes. Maybe there's a cushioning between your seat and your heels. You can sit in this pose and then come forward, maybe supporting yourself. You can come into a toe squat. So now the heels are lifted and the knees are lifted and your hands are supporting you. If you have a ball, you could stand on the ball, right around the ball of your foot. I'll give you a halfway mark, so if you're standing on the ball, you'll know when to switch. So come into your pose. And then find your comfort. Maybe rolling the shoulders if you're in more of an upright position. You can just rest your hands, relax the belly. So yin is all about going deep into the body, into the connective tissue called fascia. Fascia is all over us. It's lying all under our skin. It's sort of that netting that holds our organs in, that's netting us in around our joints. And our specific yin poses get into stimulating energy around certain joints, around certain organs. And this particular pose that we're doing is opening up that thick band of fascia, layers and layers and layers on the sole of the foot, going all the way up the back body, connecting right at the forehead. I'll be guiding you as to a certain time to stay in, but come out whenever you need to. If you need to take a break, you can come back in. You can take a break and stay out. It's your practice. Just listen to your body. This can be an uncomfortable pose because we're stretching such a deep band of fascia. It's used to prevent plantar fasciitis, and it's used as therapy in recovering from it. So it's a good practice to do. And here we are in winter, our joints, our feet, everything is getting cold at some point. So this helps to stimulate energy around the area, also the fascia. We are about halfway, so those of you standing on a ball, please mindfully switch to the other side. Make sure you keep a slight bend in both of your knees if you're standing, never overextending the joints. Just continue to settle in. Take a cleansing breath as you need, as you desire. It's an inhale through the nose and a long exhale through the mouth. It helps the nervous system to just calm down. It sends a message of calm. Practice this on your own. 3 minutes is max. We're going somewhere close to that today. So again, if you'd like to come out, come out. Listen to your body. Often the longer we stay in, up to those 3 minutes, the body begins to feel a little better. Maybe not always for all of us, so just be mindful. Just a few more breaths here, if you're staying in the full time. Ready to release? I am. Go ahead and come forward, or if you're folded forward, lift up. If you're standing, maybe come back to hands and knees. And again, some tapping on the front of the feet can feel really nice after this pose. Again, you might want to take a stretch with each of the legs. Good. And then let's come back toward a seat when you've had enough of that. And we'll just take one foot up and just find your knuckles and find some tapping along that center line. Just stimulating a little bit more that band of fascia. We have so many energy points on our feet. This can be very helpful. Good. And then take the thumbs and get into the roots of all the toes. Notice if you find soreness or what you do find. And then find some movement in the toes. Moving the joints, getting into each of the toes. And then 3 fingers, take a sweep from the toe tips to the heels 3 times, and we'll go to the other foot. Start with the knuckles, doing some tapping up and down that fascia line. Stimulating and just kind of giving it a little bit of love after that deep stretch. Good. And then the tips of the thumbs can come into the base of the toes. I call them the roots of the toes. Finding a little movement there, maybe finding some soreness. I often do. And then moving the toes, getting into the joints of the toes, maybe moving each one separately or all together. 3 middle fingers from the toe tips to the heel, 3 sweeps. This is symbolic of letting unnecessary, unwanted energy go. Good. And let's get ready for our first yin pose today. Today, I'm going to invite you into a butterfly pose. Your butterfly should be how your body feels comfortable. Maybe the knees are more of a diamond, or maybe the soles of the feet come in nice and deep. In either place, I'll invite you to fold forward as far as you can, but rest your forehead wherever your body takes you. It's important that you don't leave these muscles doing all this extra work because it wouldn't be comfortable the next day, be overextending. So maybe sitting on the very edge of a blanket to tilt that pelvic bowl forward. When you're ready, open the heart center. Keep the heart open and lead with your heart. Exhale as you come down wherever your body takes you. Then tuck the chin and rest your forehead. Using props however they serve you, making sure to rest your forehead. Once you get into this butterfly pose, release all your muscle engagement. Make sure you're in a place that's sustainable. The body will continue to open as you sit. Relax your jaws. Release everywhere you can. That is how yin works best. We release the muscles, we invite the stress to go into the fascia. And today, specifically working with the urinary bladder and the kidneys. As you come deeper into this pose, you might even imagine your kidneys on your low back. 2 big kidney bean shapes, and the adrenals, little triangles, look like little party hats, sitting on the kidneys. They're opening up. You're sending some energy there. Also, the urinary bladder. After the kidneys help filter, then products are sent to the urinary bladder where we can excrete those and get them out of our body. So you might call in some of those organs as maybe a tool to quiet your mind or find a deeper connection. Sometimes I envision those organs and it just feels really good for my practice, but do what you need to do. Just stay with your practice. I'll give you a halfway point. Notice if the jaws have tightened up. Release the jaws. Think of releasing the tongue. Maybe just gently moving around the tongue in your mouth, inviting it to just release. It too can tense up and find tension in other parts of your body. Wanders, call it back. Call it back to you, your practice. Invite it to be right there with you each moment as much as possible. point of the pose as I'm offering it in this session, if you feel like, maybe my body's opened up a little bit, perhaps I can fold deeper, I invite you to do that. If you are just happy and content and feel good where you are, stay. Body will continue to open. That fascia will continue to stretch. Those energy lines will continue to stimulate the kidneys, into the adrenals, urinary bladder. If you do move, come right back into stillness, releasing everywhere that's possible to release. Shoulder blades should be far away from each other on your back body, opening up the back of the heart. Get some stimulation in the heart meridian here as well. Our yin poses offer us so much. All we need to do is just be quiet and still in specific poses. Can you let go to become really deeply embedded in your pose? Several rounds of breath left here, but I'll invite you once again, if you choose now, maybe you didn't earlier, if you want to choose one of those places of the organs, the kidneys, the urinary bladder, maybe the heart, just intend some of your energy to go there. Maybe you need a little extra help, or maybe you'd like to honor those organs with some extra gratitude, your intention and your breath. So maybe increasing the depth and the length of your breath a little as you do this. Nearing the end of the time for this pose, so when you feel like being finished with your breath and that intentional sending it, you can end that. And then if your hands are free, slide them under your shoulders as best you can. Press in and inhale all the way up. We inhale as we come up from a forward fold. Good. And release your legs. You might have your hands help you as you lift the knees. And a counter pose for this is bringing the feet wide and finding some gentle windshield wiper movements. You can do this seated, you can do it on your forearms, you can come all the way to your back. Just be mindful of the rest of your body, not pressing too deeply into your wrists. And notice what you feel here. What do you feel when you find this twist, when you find this engagement, kind of inviting the psoas muscle connection right here at the front of the hips? Just take note. Take a few more rounds, or maybe find some tapping on your body or rubbing, stimulating that energy to continue to flow through. Again, whatever is beneficial for you. Maybe a little tapping over the thymus, right over the breastbone. Keeping our immune system activated, yin is a really wonderful practice to help with our immune system. So many different ways. Then we can put in these extra little benefits. Good. And let's get ready to move on to our next yin pose. Some of you might be really excited to learn we're coming back to that saddle or hero's pose. And as we progress in this pose, I will invite you to take a reclining saddle, only if your body feels like it. So once again, we find our seat coming between our heels. You might be elevated on a block, a bolster, or something else. And for you, maybe your legs are farther apart. If this doesn't feel so great in your body, you shouldn't do it, but maybe you could do a half pose. That might work, or sitting up higher. After we sit for a while, have some props ready. I'll be inviting you to recline in this if your body says it's okay. So if you're reclining, you might have a bolster or a blanket behind you or a block. You might find as we recline longer that your body can go all the way down. So with all of our yoga poses, there's always another place to go. But we're going to start seated. Seated in the saddle or hero's pose to really, once again, warm up this part of the body. This time, let's just connect the index and the thumb. Sit up nice and tall. And if you're sitting on something, maybe your pelvic bowl is tilted slightly forward. Relax into your pose and find the stillness, just sitting. We've already been here, so we have a little muscle memory. These quads are some of the biggest muscles in our body, so they take a while to fire up. Relax the jaws and just sit. And again, if there's any pain come out of this pose, find something similar that helps your body, that supports your body. If it's uncomfortable, you decide if you want to stay. Not all yoga is comfortable. And that's part of our lesson in practicing, right? That life is not all comfortable. And finding things on our mat and learning how we experience, that helps us in our life. If you would like to see what it feels like to recline, you might begin now with just a slight recline, supporting your body as you bring it back, maybe even leaning against a couch or a bed if there's something in your space, or coming back on an elevated bolster, making sure that works for you. As you go lower down, you'll get more pull in the quads. And so you'll feel those muscles moving, even though we're looking to get beyond the muscles into the fascia. So really support your body, make sure your head is supported. Relax the jaws. And even if you know your body can go all the way to the floor, let's take a halfway point at this point. Stay here for a while to further warm up. Warm up the body, the fascia, the muscles, creating more muscle memory. And then in a short time, I'll invite you to go deeper if you choose. Remember, you can stay at any point. It's always your option, your practice. And practicing non-violence, non-harming to your body. Ahimsa, one of our yamas, one of our constraints in yoga. Relax the jaws. Where do you feel this pose working? Can you feel anything maybe moving like along the front of the quads? Or if you're reclining now, your heart is more open. Where do you feel what you feel? Engage with that feeling as you invite the mind to become more quiet, but engaging with your pose. we have intention and we yoke, we bring together the physical movement, the energetic movement, the quiet. It all works a little more deeply for us. It helps us to stay there. Body is feeling comfortable where it is as it's inviting this big opening, really getting into the urinary bladder here and the kidneys. If you are partially reclined, you'd like to see what it feels like. See what it feels like to go a little deeper. Only if it's appropriate for your body. Using any supports that you need. You might want a blanket tucked right under your low back, maybe something under your head. Maybe you stay right where you are. Always options in every pose that we do. The important thing is to listen to our bodies, understand our limits, and appreciate that. Keep the jaws relaxed. Where else can you soften? If you feel those quads trying to work, see if you can invite them to release. All those big muscles in the front of the thighs. They're getting a nice deep stretch. So think of all the fascia that's surrounding those muscles and how it is also stretching, providing more space, if you will. Take a few more rounds of breath here in whatever version of saddle pose you're in, sitting upright or reclining. So again, I'll invite you, if you'd like to intend an opening or your breath to go to maybe the urinary bladder, maybe the quads. Some of you might like to think of strengthening the quads. Good time to do any of that. Deepening your breath just slightly. Few more rounds of breath here. And then please listen very carefully. If you're in your seat, you're already in a position to easily come out of the pose. If you're reclined, see if you can bring your hands to the floor. Tuck your chin very intently. And then inhale as you come up, supporting your body with your hands as best you can, coming all the way up and out of the pose. Maybe sit for just a moment or two. And then let's come back, everyone, into tabletop pose, hands and knees. Whew. That's actually one of my favorite yin poses. It feels so good in my body, but it doesn't feel good in everyone. So just notice what you're feeling. And let's find some tapping again for the top of the legs. They've been getting a really, really big stretch. All the fascia, even some of the muscles. So find that tapping. And again, maybe find some stretching, reaching out through the heel, the sole of the foot. You might choose to lift that leg and again find some kicks in toward your seat. Just finding a little more muscle movement in the quad. And the same with the other leg. If there's something else your body is craving or you're feeling like you need, please take it. And then find any other movement here that you would like in your marauding bear. You might move the shoulders and the hips. Take a few more breaths doing whatever you're doing to kind of release or help the body open up. And then we'll get ready for our next yin pose. So make your way up toward a seat and sitting on the very edge of a blanket. We're going to come into a half dragonfly, half butterfly. That sounds pretty exciting. Makes us think of spring perhaps. So have something ready to support yourself as you fall. Let's start with bringing the right leg out, like it would be in a wide dragonfly pose. And we'll bring the left foot in like it's in half butterfly. We're going to be finding a gentle twist facing that right leg and bending toward it. So here's where your props are really valuable. You might have a bolster or something on the inside of your leg. So when you find that twist, being very kind to your body, then you have somewhere to come and place your forehead. Not placing the chin because that juts and it's not good for your neck. So place your forehead. Some of you might have more flexibility and you might come right to the inside or right over that leg. Again, resting your forehead on your body, the floor, a prop, maybe there's a block involved. So if you haven't already, you might even begin by inhaling your arms up, finding that twist to the right, and coming down either right over that long leg or to the inside. Half dragonfly, half butterfly pose. Continuing to work urinary bladder, the kidneys. Release your jaws, settle in, letting go of all muscle engagement as possible. Release the shoulders, release your arms. See if you can just let your body be supported on your props or the earth, letting go as best that you can. Be noticing that you feel the twist here, maybe along the mid to low back. Even when we're in a pose and in stillness, we can engage with what we're feeling in our body. The energy in our body is moving in a specific way when we put it in a specific shape. See what you can feel. Sometimes it's not so obvious. But ask your body, ask yourself, what am I feeling? What is going on where? Let's take a few more breaths here. This half butterfly, half dragonfly pose. And let's begin to transition out. So bring your hands under your shoulders as best you can. Press into your mat and inhale all the way up. And then to center, keep the shape, and let's just take a stretching forward. Stay on your palms, let your palms reach out, and flex your right foot. Reach out through the sole of the foot. And keep your heart lifted, keep your head lifted here. We're not going to stay, we're just finding a stretch. Walk your hands back up. Maybe help that right leg to come up, and we'll find the shape on the other side. Left leg comes out wide and long. Right foot is coming in, sitting on the very edge of the blanket to help get deeper into the pose. Having your props ready. This side of your body might be very different, so really pay attention to yourself, okay? Let's inhale the arms up, reach up, turn toward that long extended left leg, and then come folding right over the leg or to the inside of that leg, propping your forehead wherever you land, on your body, on a prop, on the floor. Releasing, supporting the forehead. Releasing all of your muscle energy and just allowing yourself to be in this pose. Invite yourself in. Relax the jaws, soften the back of the heart. See if you can soften that inner left thigh. Just let the toes go where they want to go. No need to hold or guide them right now. Jaws relax, relax the tongue. When we become stressed, we send toxins through the body. The adrenals have to work a little harder. Kidneys have to filter everything that comes through. Maybe send a little extra love to your kidneys as you're in this shape. Maybe specifically the left kidney right now. Just be soft everywhere possible. Just a few more rounds of breath left here, so if you really want to increase the benefit of this pose, send your breath where it makes sense to you. Perhaps the kidneys, the urinary bladder, the back of the heart, the adrenals. And let's prepare to come out of this pose. So again, move your hands. So you line up the joints of your arms and then press into your hands as you inhale and come up. Keep your shape. And then once again, we'll take a lengthening forward. Just crawl your hands forward, let your arms be long. Keep your head neutral, shoulders away from the ears, and just find a nice stretch here. Press out through the sole of that left foot. Point the toes to the ceiling. Relax the jaws. Just a few more breaths here. And then mindfully walk yourself back up. Maybe help lift that knee up. And let's send both legs out long and just rub, tap, and shake them a bit. A lot of work for the legs today. A lot of work going up in this inner seams of the thighs and the quads. Shake and tap. Good. And then invite yourself onto your back, coming down slowly and mindfully, all the way down. Let's bring the knees in toward the chest, and then lift the feet up to the ceiling. And if you have a strap, you can take it, but otherwise just take your hands behind the knees, flex your feet, and just guide the legs in toward your face. Feet are flexed, toes are pointing toward your face. Just want to get a stretch in the hamstrings. The hamstrings are partners with the quads, and so did a lot of work with the quads, a little with the hams. So let's just find a little more opening and release here. Just a few more breaths. Your knees can be bent. Again, pay attention to your body. These biggest muscles in the body, around the quads and the hams. You might feel that, especially when it's cold outside. They can tighten up. We need to keep them loose, the fascia around them. Maybe you can guide those legs in a little deeper. Be mindful. Keep your back body on the floor. Good. And now send those legs back up toward the ceiling. And let's circle the wrists and the ankles. And the other direction. And point and flex, point and flex. Getting a little bit into the lower legs and into the wrists and ankles. Good. Let's shake them out. Bring the knees in toward the armpits. Hug in nice and deep. Stretch the back body. Press your back body, your sacrum into the mat, shoulder blades into the mat. Bring your legs together. On an exhale, if it's okay for you, bring your nose up to your knees, stretching the upper back, and a symbol of sealing in your practice. As you come back down, find a restorative pose to finish out our session together. Any pose that resonates with you. It might feel good from this session to come into a gentle heart opener. Maybe just rolling your back body over a bolster. That might feel very refreshing from what we've been doing. If you'd like to be on your back, you might elevate your legs up the wall, or find some bent knees, nice and wide over a bolster. Arms by your sides, palms up, whatever pose you choose. Maybe something over your hips, that seat of water in the body, fluids in the body, kidneys, urinary bladder. Keep things cleansing and moving. And now find a place to rest. I'm guessing most of you know how to come into a comfortable resting pose of your choice, using any of your props so your body is supported, your body is warm, using a blanket over you, maybe something gently over the eyes. And if you don't have something during this practice, maybe the next practice, bring even a washcloth to just set over your eyes. Let's take a cleansing breath, and on that exhale, really settle into your pose. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Let it go. Soften your body. This time we invite rest. We rest to restore. If you set an intention at the beginning of our session, perhaps you call that back and just let it marinate within you as you rest. Rest portion of the practice is just as important as all the other things you've done. We rest to awaken something within. We rest to energize ourselves. So simple. Just rest. Invite you to just continue to rest. You've been here a short time. If you'd like to take a longer time for yourself, it's important to do that. If you're coming out of practice with me, begin to just see your body as you are in your mind's eye, calling yourself back to your physical body and back to your physical space. In your mind's eye, seeing furniture, pets, other things that are in your space. Then deepening and lengthening your breath, calling back that energetic self, getting more into the subtle body, and then finding some opening, maybe with the fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Make your movements bigger as it makes sense to you. Knees might come into the chest. You might take a full body stretch. You might lift the limbs and just shake and rub them again, finding warmth and energy, prana and chi moving through the body. Coming into the fetal position, either side. Take a cleansing breath here in fetal position. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Palm of your top hand to your chest, press in. Inhale all the way up to a seat. Take your time. And if you're not coming out with me now, when you come out of your practice, be mindful and slow, guiding yourself out in a very gentle way. If you're in a seat, invite your hands to your heart, Anjali Mudra, bringing everything toward the center, bringing together all of these energies of the hands, all of these energies where we create our mudras, bringing Ha, Ta, Hatha, sun and moon energies together, lunar and solar, lining ourselves up. Find a moment of gratitude for going through practice. Maybe it wasn't your favorite practice. It's okay, you did it. You can ask yourself what you learned from it. I thank you for being here, for sharing a practice with this beautiful community at Perennial Yoga. Stay strong, safe, and healthy. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.